All right, I think we're going to get started here. Hi, everyone. My name is Maria Valdesera. I'm going to be discussing how to access some American Community Survey data through data.census.gov. So I work for the Dissemination Outreach Branch here at the Census Bureau. In my position, I assist data users with finding data on data.census.gov, the Census API, and our microdata access tool. I also do teach participatory classes that allow data users a more hands-on experience with learning some census data tools. So now for just a brief outline of what we are going to be covering today, I'm going to jump right in with a demo of data.census.gov and focusing mainly on the two main ways to find data on the site, which is the single search and the advanced search. I'm also going to be highlighting some key features of the site that appear in the table and the map view. Then I'm just going to go over a few frequently asked questions that people have about the site, as well as some educational materials and resources that I have found very helpful when navigating data.census.gov. Then if we have a few more minutes, I'm just going to take those few moments to see if there are any outstanding questions that you may have on the topics that I covered today. So I want to get started with our first example, which is utilizing the single search functionality, and is really highlighting one of my favorite features of the site, which is our geography profile. So I'm just going to get out of my slides there, go straight to Google, and I will say Google Chrome is one of our preferred browsers. If you also have Microsoft Edge, that is also a preferred browser. So I'm going to be using Chrome today. So I just typed in data.census.gov. And this is our main landing page, and I'll just expand this so everybody can see it more clearly. So this is our main landing page of the site. If you have used the site in the past, you might be familiar with a single search bar. So to access the geography profiles, the best way that I have found is to simply just type in the geography that you're looking for. So for this example, we are looking for Wayne County, Michigan. So I'm just going to type that in. And you'll see here, it is taking a few seconds, probably due to the bandwidth, but I'm actually going to flip off my camera, if that's all right, just so I can save some of the bandwidth. But we can see that this preview screen is pulling up, so that's an indication that we have a geography profile available. I'm just going to click on that. And it is zooming in on the geography that we've selected. You can see here that there is some other geographic information associated with it. And then if you wanted to share this profile, you could do so by clicking on the Share Profile button. Now we have a few ways to share this profile. So we have it via Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and via email if you'd like to share it that way. We also are able to copy this link to the site. And if you want to embed the profile in another web page, you can also do that through this link. So now we can see here these high-level data points. So there's a lot coming from the American Community Survey, but there is also some data coming from the 2020 decennial census. We also have the economic surveys business patterns data as well. So it's really pulling, again, from a bunch of different surveys and these high-level data points. So if we scroll down a bit, I'm just going to wait for these to come up here. So you can see at the top, we have some topics that are available. And once you click on these topics, it will jump to that section of this page. So, if you're looking for housing data, for example, you can just click on housing. and data will appear in on this screen. So we do have some, featured statistics here. This is showing median gross rent in the county and how it compares to the rest of Michigan. And then we also have, some graphs that are available here. So if you were interested in, more to do with some housing data, you could click on table DP04, which is again coming from the ACS, one of our data profile tables. And you would be able to view the full table for Wayne County on the site. And another thing that I wanted to mention too was you can also use the search bar up top here to search for specific tables. So if you wanted to see all of the data profile tables for Wayne County, you can just click on the search button, type in DP and then 0, and then type in your geography. So I'm going to do that. I'll just click on the magnifying glass icon here. And while this loads, I did want to give just, if you aren't familiar with the data profile tables, this gives a lot of, again, great high level demographic data, housing data, social characteristics, and economic characteristics as well. So we can see that the site is loading, and I do apologize for the delay. I am working off my personal computer today. It usually does work a little bit better when I'm working on the census network. But we will just wait a few more seconds to load. I'm just going to refresh the page and see if that helps. And I just refreshed the page. So sometimes, I think with the bandwidth, with today's presentation, it might just be taking a little bit, but you can see that, I just refreshed the page. So these are all of our DP tables that I mentioned. And again, they are showing for Wayne County. So that's just, a little bit about our geographic profiles. So our next example is going to be highlighting some of our mapping capabilities. So we're going to be looking at commuting data tables for all census tracts in Delaware County, Pennsylvania. So I'm just going to go over, a few key features of mapping and how you would be able to map some data. So I'm going to go back to our main landing page by clicking on the United States Census Bureau logo. And that's how we get back to our landing page that you saw earlier. So instead of using the single search bar, I'm going to highlight the other way of finding data. That is the advanced search. So this is basically just a point and click method of selecting filters, and then the site will return tables that match your search criteria. So I'm going to click on geography first. I do recommend selecting your geographies first, just based on the way that the site is set up. I find that it is a bit easier to load. So we're going to select census tract out of our most commonly used geography section. And then it'll give us a list of states to choose from. I'm going to scroll part of the way down to select Pennsylvania. And then this will give us, the folders with the list of counties in Pennsylvania. So I'm going to select Delaware County. And then at the top here, we can see all census tracts within Delaware County is the first option that we can select. So I'm going to click on the checkbox, and that will be added to our filters over here. Now to find commuting data, you would go to topics. And here we have over 40 topics that are available for you to choose from. I'm going to select employment, and then commuting is found under employment. So I'm just going to click on this checkbox here. and that will also be added to our filters. So I'm just going to click on the search button at the bottom of the screen here, and that will pull up related data tables that have commuting data for all census tracts within Delaware County. So I'm just going to select this first table here. And this will bring us to, again, the table view that you guys saw in our last example. But if I collapse both of these panels, I can see the full view of the table here, and I can also see this map button. So if you click on this map button or the maps tab, it will take you to the mapping screen. We'll just give a few seconds for this map to load. So it's going to be showing commuting data for, this is showing the total workers 16 years and over. So this is the first estimate within the table itself. So you can see in the legend here that the darker shades of blue, correlate to however many more workers there are 16 years and over. Now, if you wanted to map, for example, people who use public transportation, as an example, in these census tracts, you would just click on the variables button and then click on this downward facing arrow to select which variable you'd like to use. So these are all of the variables that are present within the table. So if you wanted to view public transportation data, you would select this variable here. So this is the estimate for the workers 16 years and over who use public transportation to commute to work. So we'll just click on that, and you can see that the map does update with this new variable. So again, you can see over here that these are some of our census tracts that have more of a population of people who commute to work via public transportation. And so now I just wanted to highlight some of the features that we have. The select tool allows you to click and drag across an area that you have not selected and have that be added to your map. So I'll show you what that looks like. You'll just click and drag, and then anything that your square touches will then be added to the map and then subsequently your table. And you can exit it by going here. The Clear Geos button, pretty self-explanatory, just clears all of the geographies and gives you a clean slate on your map. The layer button is when you select two separate geographies within the filtered search, and then you can switch between them on the map since you can't map and find data for two different geographies at the same time. So if you say selected all places in Delaware County and then all census tracts, you would use the layer button to switch between census tracts and places. So these are all of the geographies that you could select. The year button allows you to switch the year that you're viewing data from. So for the 5-year estimates, we have 2021 all the way down to 2010. The base map just allows you to change what is being shown underneath the data that you've mapped. So right now we're on the basic base map, but you can also choose detailed or no base map. I like the basic personally, just because it is a mix between the two, detailed and none. It's a good balance. The boundaries button allows you to overlay other geographic boundaries onto the map. Now, you're not going to see data for these boundaries, but you can see, if you wanted to select, places, and I'll just look up here. We can see place here. I'll click on the boundary line and boundary label. And there you can see, which tracks fall into which city or town, or CDP that you would be able to select. The colors button is more of an aesthetic choice if you need to have the map match to your a presentation or something that you might have. You can always change the the colors and the color scheme of what is being shown in the map. Likewise, the data classes allow you to change what groups or data classes you would be able to see in the legend of the map itself. So we have natural breaks, quantiles, equal intervals, and you can also change the classes manually. The identify tool allows you to click on a specific part of the map, and then you would be able to see some identifying details. This does also include the geographic ID. If you are interested in that, there's the geo ID for this particular census tract here. So that is the identify tool, and you can exit it by clicking on this button up top here. The table just allows you to see this specific estimate being shown in the table for all of the geographies that we selected. If you wanted to go back to the full table, you could click on the View Full Table button there. And then these are just the associated table notes with this map. There is some technical documentation and methodology links that are available if you'd like to dive more into that. And then, of course, we have our share button here. Now, there are currently no ways to download or print maps, but you can always use, a screenshotting software, or if you have screenshotting capabilities on your laptop, that is probably the best way to go as of right now with mapping. And then our final example, we're going to be going into some of the table ribbon capabilities. So again, we're going to be comparing across some geographies and looking at the ratio of income to poverty for Houston as well as Harris County in Texas. So I'm going to go back into Google Chrome, and we'll just go back to the main landing page. And we're going to be using the advanced search again, since we are selecting two different geographies. So first, I'm going to click on our geography filter again. We're going to select Harris County first. So that is going to be under the county button, and then scroll down to Texas. And you can scroll down this list, or if you just want to search for Harris County by using that search bar, you can do so, and then just add it to your filters. Then we're going to click on the geography filter again and select place. And then again, scroll down to Texas. And then again, we can scroll down this list, or we can just search for Houston, and we can see Houston City is right there. So those are our two geography filters. Now we're going to be looking for the poverty topic. So that's going to be under the topics filter, and then income and poverty. And then the poverty folder has the actual poverty filter right in it there. So we're going to have those three filters added. I'm going to click on the search button. And you can view the full table list here, or you can go to the Tables tab. And if you want to view more tables at once, you can change your view from 10 to 25 or 50. I'm actually going to change it to 50 and look for my specific table that I have in mind, since we're looking for the ratio of income to poverty level. So that's B17002. So I'm just going to select that. And we can see that this is being shown for Harris County and for Houston. Again, I can collapse these panels and see the full table here. So I'm just going to go over these filters very quickly. This allows you to, again, see the table notes here. There's also a way to add more geographies and topics. This is just, again, another way to add filters. You can change the data set that's being shown. Right now, it is showing the 1-year estimates, or you can change the year here. The hide button allows you to hide specific columns that you don't want to see on the table. Likewise, if you wanted to just hide margin of error, you could do so by clicking on the margin of error button, and you can either hit restore or the margin of error button again. You can also transpose the table, so this puts the geographies in the rows instead of the columns. I'm going to skip over these real quick and just explain them at the end, but again, this is the share button. You can also print this table, or you can again, go back to the mapping. Now for the print capability, you can only print the first page of data and the associated table notes. So if you wanted to print the full table, I suggest exporting it to Excel. So this is going to be a readable format. It's just going to be exactly what you see on the site here. So I'm going to try and do my best to open it. Again, my personal computer does work a little bit differently than my Census laptop. So that just exports right there. Hopefully it doesn't take too long to verify it. If it does, I recommend taking a look at the Excel functionality on your own, but it is very similar to what is being shown on the screen here. There is a tab for information as well as a tab for just the data itself. And since we're going to run short on time, I am just going to be done with that. But if you have any questions about the Excel export, it is definitely the most readable format. The CSV download is also readable. Again, you can download that just by clicking on it. It's still lists out all of the variables and geographies in a written format, but the zip download is a bit different. So it is made mostly for machine reading. So it does have geographic IDs associated with the specific geographies that we're looking at, as well as the variable codes. So if you are using it again for machine reading or inputting it into another statistical software, I would definitely recommend using the zip download. And apologies that I'm not able to show that as of right now. Hopefully in the next session I'll be able to. But that is just a little bit of the table capabilities that we have within the site. So now I'm just going to move on to our educational materials and some frequently asked questions that we have. So one of the things that often comes up is, why is my table not showing all of my selected geos? Why am I unable to select my geography? The simplest fix is, if you're having issues seeing data for all the geographies or selecting your geography, I recommend changing the product drop-down menu at the top of the table to the ACS 5-year estimates. This will resolve most issues since the 1-year estimates has that minimum population requirement of 65,000 people to be released. The second is, how do I access data for zip codes? People do get tripped up because we do have data for zip code tabulation areas and 5-digit zip codes. So when using ACS data, you're going to want to use ZICDAs since that is, on our demographic data. And that can be found in the most commonly used geography section. 5-digit zip codes are used for data on businesses, so our economic census or economic surveys. And then if you want to access data for collections of ZICDAs in bulk, we do have a geography that allows you to select all ZICDAs for the most recent data releases. Similar pseudo geographies are also available for places, county subdivisions, and other lower level geographies. And then if you want to select all census tracts within a city or a town, you will go through the census tract filter, you'll select your state, but then instead of selecting county, you will click on that within other geographies filter that's at the top of the list, and then you'll select place. So this is where it'll give you a list of, those cities, towns, CDPs, things like that. And then if you, wanted to select all census tracts for Denver, as an example, you can just select Denver and then that pseudo geography for all census tracts fully or partially within Denver City, Colorado, and you'll be able to pull up data for that. So I did want to also mention that, the site is still and currently fully in development. We are still, making a lot of changes to the site. If you have any questions or comments or concerns about the site, please feel free to reach out to us at census.data@census.gov. You can also use the feedback button that's on our main data.census.gov landing page. I also wanted to plug our workshops. So if you liked this and want something a bit more hands-on or something that's a bit more long form, we have several workshops available. I teach a few of them. My colleagues also teach a few of them. So we have a basics and advanced usage of data.census.gov. We have one specifically on mapping in data.census.gov. And then I also have a class that I teach on the microdata access tool that also utilizes ACS data, but allows you to build tables using variables essentially from the ground up. And then my colleague Sam also teaches the basics of using the Census API. So if you want to pull ACS data that way, you can also do that. And then finally, I just wanted, again, to plug our resources page that's available that has a lot of great how-to materials, video tutorials. We have recorded webinars on that page, as well as Census Academy has a page on our upcoming webinars. We have, PDFs, everything like that, technical documentation, everything you can think of for really diving into the data. And again, if you'd like to reach out to us, we do have our feedback email listed there, and our this PowerPoint should be uploaded. But again, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us at census.data@census.gov. And with that, I'm just going to take some questions. I'm going to try and turn my camera back on so I can see everyone. And I do have to pop out in just a few minutes here to go to another session. So apologies if I do have to duck out. Okay, there we go. Diana, do we have any questions?
No questions right now. If you have questions, please put them in the Q&A tab and we can make sure that Maria sees them. I'll also share that this is being recorded. The recording will be available soon after this session ends. And this session is also being offered again at 12:10 p.m. if you'd like to see this and review some of the concepts. Okay, I'm not seeing any questions come in. So I think we'll go ahead and end this session.